What did you make of this 60 minutes?
Solid. I thought that this was the best possible performance that we could have seen from Shedeur Sanders.
He looked exactly like Shedeur Sanders at Jackson State. When he first got out there, he was playing within himself. He was getting the ball out quickly.
The Cleveland Browns have a quarterback problem, but for the first time all season, it might actually be a good problem. Because Shedeur Sanders just made his first official NFL start. Not a relief appearance, not a preseason flash, not being thrown in cold at halftime. A real start. 4 quarters to show what he can do from the opening kick. And while he wasn't perfect, what he did might have completely changed the quarterback conversation in Cleveland. But before we break down what this start means, how he looked, and whether or not he's the guy moving forward, we have to rewind. We have to remember how we even got here in the first place.
Yard line, Sanders on first down. Njoku is wide open. Instead, he goes deep to Fannin. Big
Shedeur
play.
Sanders' NFL journey has been unusual. The hype followed him into the league, a college star, a highlight machine at Colorado, a player with confidence, swagger, and accuracy. He flashed incredible off-script talent and a playmaking ability that made him a projected first or second round pick in a weaker quarterback class. But interviews matter, consistency matters, decision-making matters, and Shedeur struggled in those pre-draft meetings quite badly.
They give players an install, and there are mistakes intentionally put in the install, and he didn't catch them and got called on it, and it didn't go well after that. You know, he throws a bad interception, and you know, like they go in the meeting, they show the interception, and they say, "What happened here?" Well, you know, I like to get into a rhythm earlier in the game, and you know, like they get into it over that, and his conclusion is, well, maybe I'm not a fit for you.
The fall was brutal. Round after round had passed, and he finally landed in the 5th round for the Cleveland Browns. That pick alone told the entire league one thing: everyone loved the talent, but nobody trusted the projection. Cleveland had no plans of starting him. They had veteran Joe Flacco, and then they had 3rd round pick Dillon Gabriel, so Shedeur was the QB3, more of a developmental project. And then the preseason happened. Shedeur looked outstanding against Carolina. Flashes of everything people loved about his game. Movement in the pocket, the ball placement, solid arm talent. But the very next game against the Rams, it was a disaster. Bad decisions, late throws, a ton of sacks, everything scouts were afraid of would show up immediately. And once the season started, Dillon Gabriel would eventually take over the reins of the quarterback role once they traded away Joe Flacco. And Dillon, he wasn't a star, but he kept the offense functional, far from explosive, far from dangerous, but a little bit stable. For a few weeks, that was enough, until Baltimore. Dillon got hurt mid-game, a concussion, Shedeur was thrown in at halftime without any preparation, and it was ugly. 4 for 16, 47 yards, an interception. He had no rhythm, he looked uncomfortable, and he did not look like he was ready. It was the worst possible way to get your first real snaps in the NFL. And after a performance like that, there was a ton of question marks about whether or not Shedeur would start the next week or if they would rush back Dillon Gabriel. But then, they announced Shedeur would get the start, and on Sunday, against the Raiders, a team that's been a disaster on both sides of the ball, Shedeur Sanders would get the call. This time, he wasn't coming in cold, this time he wasn't reacting, this time he wasn't unprepared. He had a full week of first-team reps, a week to study the game plan, and a week to get settled. So, what happened? He looked solid. Not elite, not necessarily jaw-dropping, but solid. And sometimes, solid is exactly what a young quarterback needs to show. Shedeur went 11 for 20 for 209 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The Browns, they would score 24 points, their second highest scoring output of the entire season. And here's the number that shocked myself and almost everybody: only 1 sack. 1. For a quarterback who has a reputation for holding onto the ball way too long, drifting in the pocket, and creating his own pressure, this was a massive step forward. He wasn't perfect with his timing, he wasn't perfect on reads, but he showed improvement, which is the best thing for a young quarterback. And his biggest moments were not just the layups. Let's start with the play that everyone is talking about, the deep shot to Isaiah Bond.
At 8, here comes the pressure. Running away from it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man. Caught at the 10-yard line.
The play breaks down. The initial pressure collapses the pocket. Shedeur escapes. He rolls out, resets his shoulders, and delivers an absolute dime on the move 52 yards down the field. This is the talent. This is his natural ability. This is what made people fall in love with him when he was at Colorado. Then there was the extended play to Jerry Jeudy.
He's been rolling it an awful lot today. He'll set up and throw, and he's got him, man. It's complete to Judy. Inside Raiders territory. Fumble.
Another pressure breakdown. Shedeur buys time, keeps his eyes down the field, and fires a strike that turned into a 39-yard gain before Jerry Jeudy did Jerry Jeudy things. The ball placement, money. And the biggest statistical play,
And they go to Sampson out of the backfield. He's got two tight ends blocking on the outside. He's got room. He bursts inside Raiders territory. One man.
The quick screen to Dylan Sampson that went 66 yards to the house won't show up as anything special in the passing charts, but it showed something important. Shedeur was executing the offense. He operated in rhythm. He got the ball out quickly, accurately, and confidently. These are the simple plays that rookie quarterbacks oftentimes will screw up, and Shedeur did not. Again, far from perfect, but exactly what the Browns needed. Now, it's important to say the Raiders are very bad. Not average, not inconsistent, not middle of the pack, bad. They rank 23rd in opponents' points per game, 25th in opponents' touchdowns per game, bottom half in pass defense, and bottom half in run defense. So it's not a great measuring stick, as almost any competent offense should be able to move the football on them, but that's exactly what Cleveland did. So the question isn't, did he dominate? The question is, did he look like an NFL quarterback who belongs on the field? And to me, the answer was yes. He did not panic, he did not implode, he didn't force the hero ball stuff, he didn't turn the game into chaos, he made the right throws, he played within structure, he extended plays only when it was necessary, and he kept the offense moving. So there's some growth there. And now, the Browns have a decision to make. With Dillon Gabriel likely returning from injury after this game, Cleveland must choose between two totally different quarterbacks. Dillon Gabriel, the safer option, more conservative, willing to test the middle of the field, and a bit more steady, lower ceiling, but a higher floor, predictable, but a little bit reliable, whereas Shedeur Sanders is the riskier option. More explosive, more aggression, and way more talented, capable of bigger plays and also bigger mistakes. If you ask the fans, they want Shedeur, obviously. They've seen the flashes, they've seen the arm talent, they see the energy that he brings to the team. But if you were to ask Kevin Stefanski, that's complicated. Stefanski values structure, he values predictability, and he likes minimizing chaos within an offense. Shedeur can thrive outside structure, but he can also break it. Dillon can't elevate the offense, but he also won't sink it either. So what do the Browns want? Do they want safety, or do they want upside? Do they want stability, or do they want some electricity? Do they want the quarterback who protects the playbook, or the quarterback who's going to expand the playbook? Shedeur's first start did not lock up the job. It also did not end the debate, nor did it guarantee anything, but what it did was something very important. It at least opened the door. It gave the Cleveland coaching staff some reason to reevaluate their quarterback position. It gave fans a potential reason for some hope. It gave everybody in that Cleveland building some proof that Shedeur is developing. It gave the organization a reason to wonder if maybe, just maybe, the ceiling is worth the growing pains. He's not polished, he's not ready to carry a team, he needs refinement in timing, reads, and consistency. But this start proved he's not the lost cause that some people thought he was after the Baltimore disaster. He can play, he can contribute, he can move an NFL offense, and for the first time, he looks like a rookie who's learning, not drowning.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt very relaxed, and half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side.
So, Shedeur Sanders still has a long way to go. He still needs to clean up his mechanics, he still needs to clean up his processing, he still needs to prove that he can sustain success against better competition, but this performance was encouraging, and frankly, it was necessary. This was the first step towards something very real. He's not saving the franchise after one game, he didn't light up the scoreboard, and he's not going to silence every single critic, but he did something far more meaningful. He kept the Browns competitive, he played within the system, he made NFL throws, and he looked prepared and ready. Not perfect, far from polished, but ready. And now the Browns have a decision to make that could shape the rest of their season, and possibly even the future of their quarterback room. Because one thing is now certain, Shedeur Sanders belongs in the conversation to start for the rest of the season. Whether he wins the job, whether he keeps the job, whether he grows into the job, he's earned the right to fight for it, and that alone is a massive step forward.